Hey guys, sure, I'm John coming at you with another Diablo Immortal video. This one, it's finally that time. I want to do a comparison on the Paragon trees, and I want to explain to you which one is going to be better for you in certain circumstances. We're actually going to focus and primarily focus on the difference between the Soldier and the Mastermind Paragon trees, because I feel like this current season, those two trees, other than the Treasure Hunter tree, are the most impactful on your account. All right, so let's go ahead and let's pull up the Paragon trees that we're talking about here. That's going to be the Paragon trees right here. That's going to be the Mastermind and the Soldier Paragon trees. And I'm actually about due to go ahead and do a reset to fix this myself. But let's break it down, talk about it, and determine at which point is this really going to make the most difference on your account and allow you to progress the furthest when we're talking about some of this new content, right? A lot of this new content is going to be structured around your warband settings, right? It's going to be structured around group activities. Also, you have your arena, which is also going to be structured around group activities, right? So far, the two newest and most active parts of the game, I would say arena, which I hate to, I refuse to do arena because I think it's a waste of time. I hate the way that it balanced it. It's absolute garbage in my opinion. However, when you poll the viewers and you talk to most of the community, a lot of you guys are playing it and you're enjoying it, which is good. Because if you're playing it, enjoying it, that means you're getting value out of certain Paragon trees, just like you would when you're gonna do your warband content. So now that means you need to make a decision. Are you gonna go Mastermind? Or are you gonna go Soldier? Or are you gonna go something else? Let's go ahead and let's focus on Soldier and Mastermind, because those are gonna make the biggest difference as far as collective group farming, where you have a good diversity, right? So let's talk about the differences between the two. So what we'll do is we'll dive into Mastermind, we'll dive into Soldier, and we'll talk about which one makes the most sense for how you're gonna play and who you're gonna play with, okay? So let's go ahead and let's talk about Mastermind. So Mastermind total has life, it has armor, it has damage, resistance, it has armor penetration, potency, right? So those are the ones that you're gonna be getting as far as passive stats for this tree. You always need to keep your passive stats in mind for every single Paragon tree. The reason being is because these are passive stats. It doesn't matter if this tree is active or inactive. However, what you get from this armor penetration, this +4 armor penetration here, versus what you get for 1 point of damage here is astronomically higher. Notice the difference here. Notice that for 20 points here, I've got +400 damage. What is crit damage? Crit damage is double your normal damage, right? With the armor pen added to it. So because I got an additional 400 damage from this, it's actually 800 damage, and then the crit damage is applied, okay? So it actually made more sense for me to spend 20 points on damage than it does to spend the 14 points here and not invest them over here. Granted, yes, I would have to do this anyways. But what I'm trying to show you is the point of the fact that just because your passive has certain attributes in it doesn't mean that you have to take them all, right? Don't get me wrong, I will eventually come back and get this armor penetration. I will get it, but right now I have Survivor and I'm filling up the damage slot here because you get the most fluck for your buck as far as overall damage output. So that's why I'm gonna go ahead and keep doing that until I have that filled up, and then I'll probably come over here and grab this. Now, some of you are asking, John, why are you taking Mastermind over taking Soldier? Well, let's talk about what Mastermind gives you. Mastermind. Coordinated assault. All party members within 5 yards of you gain 3% increased skill damage while your party has members from 4 different classes. This effect is not cumulative from multiple sources. Basically, when you have a four-person diverse set, which is going to be happening a lot more in dungeons and guild raids and everything else and a lot of the content out there right now, this is giving you 3% increased skill damage, right? That's quite a bit of damage when compounded over everything, especially for myself because I'm a demon hunter. So that's why I'm running with coordinated assault. That's the perk of this. Now, the next one, mutual defense. All party members within 5 yards of you gain 3% additional damage reduction while your party has members from 4 different classes. Now, once again, same aspect, same scenario. And I can speak from this personally because my warband, I don't have a lot of duplicates in my warband. Granted, yes, you're gonna have a few. Well, the people I'm actually playing with are all from different classes, so this works out beautifully for me when I'm playing an arena, and I'm getting pretty lucky if I actually queue an arena, right? Like I said, I don't play a whole lot of it, so I can't speak from too much experience, but I'm sure a lot of you out there who are actually playing it speak from a little bit of experience that you're going to probably have a good diversity. So mutual defense is great for that addition. Now, moving on, that means I get damage. I got a 20 damage node here, right? So we're talking minimal investment. We're talking 6, 7, 8, 28 points into it to get that damage output, right? And then 2 more to get the actual skills for Mastermind. So that's great. That means that leaves me a lot of real estate to get other attributes. Now, covert operations is one of the main reasons why I took this. Increases your crit hit chance by 2.5% for each different class present in your party. The reason why I got this one is because one, it's socialized to just you, the character, but this is let's say you don't run with 4 different people. How important is crit rate on your character? It's massive. When you crit, you're doing double your damage and then your crit damage, right? And then your armor pin. So you want to do as much damage as possible, much damage humanly possible. So being able to even get this additional 5, 7.5, 10% crit damage for 4 different players in your party, I believe it counts for yourself as well. I should really try to figure out if maybe I'll try to do some testing of this later in this week. But even then, even if it doesn't include yourself and it's 7.5%, that's a massive amount of increased crit hit chance for someone who is a demon hunter or another fast primary attack using champion who can just go ahead and cycle through and destroy people, right? That is massive. Last but not least is going to be find weakness. While your party has members from 4 different classes, your attacks have a 5% chance to make bosses vulnerable for 3 seconds. This is not going to apply for your PvP content. I know that we talked about this. It's not going to apply for it. However, the other 3 do. The other thing to talk about with this is this allows your dungeons to go faster. If you guys haven't seen my dungeon guide on Mad King's Breach, just go check it out. If you haven't been to our website, diablopro.gg, we now have a guide section. It's actually a resources tab. I have my guide for Mad King's Breach up there that I've actually typed out and written with images, pictures, explaining in detail on what sets you're going to get, how you're going to get them. Go check it out on our website, diablopro.gg. But this also means by having find weakness, that helps you with dungeon farming. This allows you to do better even in your Heliquary raids. So there's chances, because technically Heliquary bosses fall under the purview of bosses. So this allows you to do a lot of damage. So that's why Mastermind is good. So let's go ahead and let's sum up. Why is Mastermind good? Mastermind is good because it allows you to have a good diversity with players to gain increased skill damage. It allows you to reduce damage around you. It allows you to increase your amount of crit chance to increase the amount of crit damage possible, as well as it allows you to make the bosses a little bit more vulnerable, all while spending a minimum of about 30 attribute points. Now, let's talk about Soldier. Soldier is going to be the other option when we talk about this. Now, Soldier isn't a bad class. It's not a bad Paragon tree. It's for a different type of build, right? So let's go ahead and let's talk about what does Soldier have in it? Well, Soldier has life, it has resistance, it has damage, it has armor, it has potency, armor penetration, and then it has its attributes. And none of these are bad because you're probably not going to take the armor. Sure, you can grab potency, but it's a 10. It's not terrible. The investment in this tree is not god awful. It's actually pretty decent. So it's not a waste of time to go this route. So let's talk about why I didn't, right? So if we start with what is Soldier, what do you get from Soldier? So the first skill that you get is each party member within 15 yards reduces the damage you take by 2.5%. This is really good. But once again, this is 15 yards. So this is definitely, you need to be within, it's half a screen length. I think it's 30 yards is out of frame. So you need to be within half a screen length of the character to qualify for the 15 yards. So keep that in mind. Which is not terrible, but then again, it's 2.5% for each party member. So you're talking 4 party members, maybe 10% damage mitigation. Not god awful for some of this warband stuff. Maybe not the greatest for arena, because what's going to happen is even though you rush in as a team, someone's going to die and it's going to slowly dwindle, which is kind of like you exponentially taking more damage when you go to PvP type content, right? Once again, Soldier, not bad so far with hold formation. Move on. First aid. Whenever you drop below 15% life, while party members are within 5 yards, you will gain first aid recovering 15% of your maximum life per second. This is huge for like the endless dungeons and the new warband content, right? Like that's huge, right? This is massive for that because you're going to be within 5 yards 90% of the time. However, when we're talking arena, we're talking PvP. chances of you being within 5 yards of a teammate and this happening is pretty rare. And then on top of that, unfortunately, you have to wait 300 seconds. So that's kind of a meh. That's 5 minutes wait. Now, granted, yes, eventually down here, we'll talk about another skill, another attribute that'll allow that to turn into 3 minutes, which is good. But you still are within like 5 yards, and I think it goes up to like 10 yards. That's a problem. Now, moving on, we have Combat Veteran. Battle morale can now stack up to 8 times, and the cooldown of first aid is reduced to 180 seconds. Perfect, right? That's the 3 minutes I was just talking about. Battle morale can now be stacked up to 8 times, which is each enemy player killed within 15 yards by one of your party members increases your damage by 3% for 10 seconds. We'll get to that in just a second. But that's what Combat Veteran does, and this is halfway down. So at this point in time, you've invested 1, invested 16, 17, 32, 33 points to get to this point here. That's quite a bit more than, it's three more than what you invested on your Mastermind. And then if we go down here, then you're gonna probably wanna take the plus 15 more, right? For damage. Come over here and battle morale if you really want to go for it. Honestly, I would say you pass on this unless you're a PvP person. If you're a massive PvP player, then this may make a lot more sense for you and may resonate a little bit more at home because yes, if you get a player killed within 15 yards by one of your party members, it increases your damage by 3% for 10 seconds. Obviously, this is going to stack up to 4 times, which actually stacks up to 8 times because you're going to go ahead and probably grab this Combat Veteran because you're going to gum this way anyways. So that's going to allow you to do up to 8 times, which then gives you 24% more damage for the 10 seconds, as long as you're progressively getting all the attacks at once. Chances of you actually stacking that up to 8, almost null. Keep that in mind. Getting this in 8 stack is going to be null. It means you pretty much, your whole team wipes out the enemy team all together at once, and they're all spawning. How many times do you see that in a BG? Not very often. So if that's your thought process, maybe not the greatest. It's probably not going to buff out for you as well. So now we're at 32. 32. This is 47, 48, 62, and then we go to sacrifice. Your death grants 50% additional damage reduction to all party members within 15 yards for 6 seconds. Once again, this can happen every 60 seconds. So this means if you die, this is going to be mostly just for, in my opinion, arena, more so than it is going to be a lot of PvE content or dungeons. Shouldn't be dying a whole lot in dungeons. Maybe in the endless guild boss or guild stuff, that maybe will be a possibility, right? That's a good possibility here. That's where the 16% can make a difference. But overall, you're talking, you've wasted a crap ton of attribute points to get to this point, and I think I'm gonna say this is it's a null and void. You're not going to take it. Let's go ahead and let's do a quick recap. Why would you take Soldier? What are the benefits of taking the Soldier Paragon tree over taking the Mastermind Paragon tree? One is the fact that damage reduction, it can be boosted up to almost 10%. You get a built-in auto regen, which could be changed down to every 3 minutes. You can also stack up to a 24% additional damage in PvP content. On top of, if you die, you allow your teammates to reduce damage they receive by 15% for 6 seconds. That's the perks of the Soldier tree. This takes a lot of time and effort. It takes a lot of points here. You can see here what the requirements are, so you can see exactly what they require for each and every one of these. So you're talking, this is a crap load of attribute points for not a whole lot of gains compared to the Mastermind. I'm 30 points deep, and it's great. It's very minimal effort. Even though I'm 30 points in, this one's always working for me. Chances are find weaknesses 9 out of 10 times working for me. There's perks to this. So keep that in mind. When we're talking about the Paragon trees, they're going to be the most used for this new content, for battlegrounds, everything. Mastermind is probably going to be the way you want to go versus Soldier, just because of the actual attributes deposited and utilized for the content. Now, Gladiator is still a solid option to go for PvP. It's great for the general points. If you want to go damage, life, that's what I took it for as armor pin. I wanted the double life here. I wanted the damage. I wanted the resistance mainly because I was struggling getting into health 5 territory, and that life and damage are massive because those are the most slug for your buff when it comes to Paragon tree points. But keep that in mind. Hopefully this helps a lot of you at home that are like, you know what, I don't know what Paragon tree I should be getting. I don't know where I should be putting these points at. Should I be putting them Survivor, Vanquisher, Treasure Hunter? Where should I be putting them? This is going to be the breakdown on which one you're going to use for the together builds, right? Because I definitely think at this point in time we're to a Paragon level where it's okay to have multiple Paragon trees selected. Obviously, you see I have Treasure Hunter, I have Gladiator, I have Mastermind, and I have Vanquisher already pre-selected and determined for me. And I have exactly what I want from these ones. So definitely keep that in mind. I may actually grab Judgment here at the next Paragon upgrade just in case I want to run Vanquisher for farming. But yes, keep that in mind at all times when you're going to think about what points am I going to add to your Paragon tree. And hopefully this helps you and allows you to utilize a little bit more of your attribute points and do a little bit more damage out there and survive a lot more in the game, which will then allow you to do a lot more things and have more fun. All right, that's going to do it for me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the content. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.